If you didn't know, Warframe is back to their 2017 average player count. If you go on Steam charts right now, you'll see Warframe is at average for the last year, about 38,000 concurrent players, and that's back to 2017. So we need Duviri Paradox, we need updates, but let's take a look at the past 6 years of updates today to see what really has been going right and what really has been going wrong. But first, a word from this video's sponsor. That's right, everyone. This video is sponsored by Opera GX. If you didn't know what Opera GX is, it's a special version of the Opera browser built specifically for gamers. Opera GX also has a mobile version called GX Mobile, and it can be directly connected to your desktop version. And of course, you can also download GX Mobile with the QR code on screen, or if you check out my link in the description or pinned down below, it really helps out, so thank you. So you may be asking yourself, why should I download Opera GX over any other sort of browser? Well, it's quite simple. Since this one is made for gamers, it has very specific controls for everyone. Like GX Control, this will help enhance your performance of your PC when you're gaming because it can let you limit the CPU or RAM that you're allowing your browser to use so that you can have more tabs open and use up less resources. There's also the network limiter, which will limit the network bandwidth used by Opera GX browser to gain better performance in both streams and games. Opera GX, of course, also has amazing customization. The accents in Opera GX are actually inspired by neon lights and how they break the darkness of the night, because they know you're going to be gaming late into the night, and you can customize the browser with particular themes, wallpapers, and colors. There's also GX Corner, where you can stay up to date with all the current free games, best deals, newest releases, and breaking gaming news, all in one easily accessible place. You can easily switch between platforms and also see the upcoming games in the release calendar. So really, there's no reason not to download Opera GX. You can import everything from your previous browsers into Opera GX to even make it 10 times easier. So if you want to support the channel, download Opera GX and just be a nice person. You can either download it using the QR code or check out my pinned link in the description or comment section. Either way, it helps support the channel, so thank you so much. That's right, everyone. Warframe is going through a bit of a rough patch, and they kind of have for the past 4 or 5 years. With the addition, the change of the team swapping around, Empyrean Railjack being overall a bad experience on launch, the new war being maybe a fun quest, but not high amount of content, and people just, I would say, being bored of Warframe and not being able to play as much as they would. The past 5 years have slowly been going downhill. I was nice enough to get this cute little chart together. I know, great, right? Just showing off on Steam charts the average players throughout the months for every year up to 2016, because 2013 to 2017, 2018, Warframe was on a constant growth pattern, right? But once 2018 hit, Warframe could no longer sustain this growth anymore. And then after that, 2019, 20, 21, and 22, they were slowly losing players left, right, and center. In the first year from 2018 over to 2019, they lost about 5,000 players playing on average throughout the year. Throughout 2019 to 2020, another 3,000, then another 2,000, 1,500. The 2020 to 2021 actually wasn't as bad, most likely because of the global situation with the COVID, right? So that most likely made more people able to play the game, and the drop off on that year was way less severe. But then we can see 2021 to 2022, the average player count of the year dropped off such a significant amount, almost like 7,000, right? I think it's about 6,000, so that's pretty insane. And right now, we are at the end, the tail end of 2022. We saw a little increase of players at the end of the year, but honestly, we got some very bad months. March in 2022, we averaged 31,000 people, and in November, because we were so dry of content, we averaged almost 30,000 people, 29.9, right? 29,000 people, pretty much, 30,000 people. So yeah, December saw Lose Prey update, which was a good update overall and did actually bring in a lot more people. And with December, less people are busy and more people have time to play games. That's why usually you see end of year December. It's the biggest time. They usually release some updates, but hey. So right now, Warframe is not looking so fresh. We're back to averaging 2017 level of player numbers, and that's just not great. So let's take a look back to the past and see what actually worked out really well for Warframe, and what were the updates that just absolutely slayed it for Warframe. Well, if you remember early on, more Warframes had much more cinematic, cool, interesting quests that went along with them. And earlier on in Warframe, they were able to release updates a lot faster with overall, all things considered, more content than in the current day, right? Warframe was smaller, they could get stuff out faster, and they could just have more quests in general. These days in Warframe, we see a lot less quests, and when we do see a quest, they're very minimal and not as good as they used to be, surprisingly. And usually those are only for mainline update type stuff, right? Fair enough, fair enough. We get less minor quests. We only sometimes do for like Zariman. But Warframe seemingly is putting more of their quest development time behind mainline large quests such as the New War and upcoming Duviri Paradox. So the old Warframe has changed completely from the current day Warframe. Back in the day, updates were more frequent, it was more shitposty, more fun friendly, and things just got out in a faster manner. It was still buggy, it was still goobery, but they were working on it. Things were slowly getting better. The Warframe main questline was coming out way faster too, right? Look at that. Update 18, we got the Second Dream. Update 19 was the War Within. Update 17, Echoes of Sentient, Warframe Sanctuary. Let's not. Sanctuary. That was some good times, right? And then Warframe 20, Octavia's Anthem. Then we had Chains of Harrow, right? People, myself included, love Chains of Harrow quests. Some OG quests in Warframe were some of the best ones people consider, right? Even with the New War, one of the latest mainline biggest quests in Warframe, it was great, it was fun, but it didn't really probably have a big as an impact as the old mainline quests, so it is what it is. While it was the biggest, most fun, and impactful quest technically, with a lot of great moments, it just didn't feel as impactful as the old ones. And then around late 2017, we started getting, or like mid-early 2017, sorry, we got Plains of Eidolon, Warframe's first open world, right? Well, their take on an open world hub area with a big expandable playable area, right? Huge general playable area. That's how Warframe did their open world, right? Everyone loved it. And then we had the Sacrifice quest, and then we had Fortuna as the mainline quest. Fortuna hit in 2018. This is what really popped Warframe up and really got a lot of people playing. The lore behind Fortuna, the characters, the open world was fun. They had the great song of, I can't even remember, We All Live Together, nailed it. It was a good year for Warframe, and it was a great update. But this was the final update where Warframe would see an overall positive player count increase continuing over the year, right? Next, we started getting things like the Jovian Concord. Oh, wow, there you go. We got Wisp. Oh, there's Wisp. Then we got the Old Blood. Crazy to think Grendel was so old back then. And these were more minor updates, right? Like, these weren't as massive as Fortuna, for sure. We know that as a fact. So, something interesting to note. And then we got Empyrean, which was thought of on release as a colossal failure on Digital Extreme's part. This was like Railjack the systems, and originally it was bad. It took you pretty much a full week almost, or like 3 days minimum, pretty much a full week depending on how you sleep and manage your times, in order to even farm the Railjack, right? People couldn't play the brunt of the update for the first week because it was so time gated and so time locked. So that was their very first mess up. Once people started playing Railjack, it was buggy, it was slow, it was just rough. People didn't know what they were doing, which was obvious, right? Because no one will know quite what they're doing. But since that was compounded with everyone being so incredibly weak and nobody really getting anything, with all of the missions being buggy and damn near unplayable, it was impossible to play Railjack functionally with people consistently well and have a fun time. And this update was just thought of as one of the worst mainline updates probably that Warframe has ever done. Since then, Empyrean Railjack has been fixed up. It's a lot better. It's pretty fun for the most part. Might not be perfect, but it's a fun experience. But people still don't like it. Then we had Deadlock Protocol. We had Protea, very small quest to go along with her, right? This is more like if Warframe was releasing updates of old with, good quest, good Warframe, fun stuff, but less content, still a good amount of content, but less, but they just don't release it in a timely manner. Then they go to make Heart of Deimos, update 29, right? Them going back to make another open world, 5 mainline updates later. And that just was fun and enjoyable, and people liked it. Deimos was great, but it wasn't enough to bring in a massive increase amount of players or anything like that. Because again, Warframe's been slowly going downhill. But I believe Heart of Deimos did make it so that in 2020, oh yeah, Heart of Deimos was 2020. Heart of Deimos definitely helped Warframe keep up to date on everything, right? Without a doubt. In my mind. And then we had stuff like Call of the Tempestari. Oh yeah, it defaults to PlayStation. Then we had Call of the Tempestari, which was like a Railjack quest. Was fun, cool. Some Sevagoth, right? Not bad. But it wasn't like huge. Even more Railjack updates to make Railjack more playable, quality of life, fun stuff. There was a lot of small, big updates within all of the mainline updates, don't get me wrong, but I just want to look at the main updates. And then we had the New War, which was a fun quest. It was really enjoyable for a lot of people. If you could properly do it, if you had everything farmed up, Necromech, Railjack, etc. If you could do the New War, you probably liked it. But after that, the last thing you could do after that was just casually farm some bounties on Fortuna. And they were just kind of reskin bounties. Sadly, that's all the real content of the quest. Maybe brought some other loot and items, but it wasn't massive. The New War was fun, but it could have been so much more as an update, right? It was cool getting new weapons and Atarak and taking along the quest, but after that, yeah. And then we got Veilbreaker, which was a good update, but it steers so far away from Warframe that people kind of got mad and hated it, right? This was 2022, 9th month, and this is also considered at this point in Warframe not the most successful update because of it not being mainly a Warframe update. It's a Warframe-like update with all the call missions, but yeah. Eventually we got Lua's Prey, Echoes of Veilbreaker, right? The more smaller updates. We got more Archon stuff, call garrison missions, and yeah, right now, everyone, Warframe is kind of just in a state of confusion. It heard itself in confusion. In theory, 2023 and 2024 should be years that Warframe actually does have an increased player count, right? A positive increase of player count, because the Duviri Paradox, in theory, will be a new experience, roguelike open world. Will it be too new? Will it be not too new? We'll find out and we'll see. But we'll have crossplay, we'll have cross-save, we'll have mobile Warframe in the next, hopefully, 2 years. Once that all releases, people will actually be able to play on their Warframe accounts on any console, in theory. And that's just massive. Warframe is a 9, almost 10-year-old game this year. It doesn't have modern day quality of life functions that it desperately needs. And this is one of those updates, well, one of those years of updates that should hopefully bring that. With the Warframe dev team swapping out Steve, going over to Soulframe, Digital Extremes developers creating a straight up new game, them publishing other games, it looks like the focus of Digital Extremes Warframe was slowly going away from mainline updates, and it was focusing on background work. So hopefully over these next 2 years, once all the background work gets done, once all of that gets caught up with mobile, crossplay, cross-save, all of that, right? once it's all here, hopefully Warframe can have a better update frequency and a better content cycle of updates, right? It looks like updates like Lewis Prey, albeit small, are good updates, right? They have content for people to play, some new Warframe's weapons, some cool new stuff. They could have more stuff for sure, but if they could get an update out like that every month or two, because it is a pretty minor update, right? They could get those type of updates out every couple of months, right? Maybe not a new Warframe, obviously, because we only get 4 a year. But hey, if we got that level of updates more often, Warframe would do okay. But Warframe's been struggling, so hey, we need Duviri Paradox. We need 2023. We're having a rough time, Digital Extremes. Hopefully Warframe will survive the slowed down development of all the background stuff, and once it's all out, we'll have to see, right? As always, you can catch me streaming randomly, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the social medias down in the description, Discord, right? I do have an Epic Games Store creator code, so if you ever buy a game on the Epic Games Store, or DLC, items, cosmetics, etc., and use my Epic Games Store creator code Pupsker, it helps me out. Genshin, Fortnite, Warframe, right? Anything like that always helps out at the end of the day. So I do appreciate it. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you next time. Peace.